Give me the main points where you see great hypocrisy in the ranks and the claims of that movement of climate change.
There are numerous examples for that. You know, the climate alarmist movement, you know, these people are trying to say, oh, we want to better the world and make everything great. So they gathered in the last climate conference, this COP26, the climate conference in Glasgow. Of course, in light of the energy crisis, there was no agreement in terms of CO2. And of course, there were no delegates from China, Brazil, India,
The main contributors.
Malaysia, Russia. None of them was there, so there's nothing to do. But there was one contract that was signed. In a very glorious ceremony, 20 countries from Central Europe and the major development banks in the world signed a statement, a contract, that they will not invest money, lend money, or give collaterals to infrastructure construction based on fossil fuels in Africa.
Wow.
Let me
They're actually
try.
punishing Africa.
They are now, who are these signatories? Belgium, for God's sakes. The Netherlands, the UK, all these places which have sucked the resources out of Africa. 1.3 billion people who are living in poverty. 800 million people in Africa do not have constant electricity. 3 billion people in the world living on the same amount of power as one American refrigerator. And you are banning loans and investment for infrastructure in Africa and condemning them to energy poverty and by that to real poverty. This is, I cannot think of something more hypocritical.
But they will tell you, hey, only investment in fossil fuel, not in...
But there is no renewable energies. What we should really call them is unreliable energy. Wind and solar cannot provide us. You know, if you look global at the electricity market, wind and solar provide about 8 to 10%. If you look at the total energy humans are consuming, it's between 1 and 3%. That's how they want the Africans to live? In 1 to 3% power? That's an immoral, inhumane thing. And this is a signed contract at Glasgow COP26.
So let's look great and punish someone.
Exactly. We're going to be the moral people. We're going to feel good about ourselves, no matter the consequence. Now let's talk about Pakistan. Not the wealthiest country we can imagine, but the Pakistani government is doing an effort. And a few years ago, they spent a lot of money and effort building infrastructure for liquid gas to power and generate electricity. Reliable, cheap electricity. And they signed long-term contracts with Qatar and with other providers of gas to supply them with gas. Now, because of the European policy, gas prices soared 6 to 10 times, 10x. Unbelievable.
They cannot even take that now.
No, so the Qataris broke the contracts with the Pakistani. They're paying a penalty, 130%.
Because they can sell it
But they
now
can sell it to
much
the
higher.
Europeans at 300%.
Unbelievable.
And now there are electricity outages and no power in Pakistan. And this, you know, ruins industry and hospitals and universities.
Even agriculture.
And schools and agriculture. Who's going to pay the price for that? Not the wealthy Europeans.
Amazing.
It's the Pakistani. Let me give you a third example. Sri Lanka, a nation of 22 million people, a few years ago was considered one of the rising stars of Southeast Asia with a growth rate of 7%. They were doing really well. And then they were persuaded to go to organic farming. We are polluting the planet. We must use farming like our ancestors did. Within 2 years, the yield of planting in Sri Lanka went down to 25%. No food shortages in Sri Lanka.
That's why they kicked out their president now.
Riots in the street,
Yes.
violent kicking out of the prime ministers. They're bankrupt. And now they're begging the World Bank for loans. This happened in 2 years of irresponsible, irrational, and immoral behavior,
Amazing.
fueled by the idea that we are ruining the planet. I have many more examples
Yes.
like this.
But
This
I
it's
get it.
all over the place.
Amazing.